Hey everybody, so the story that I'm going to talk about today has multiple different layers to it, and I'm going to try to talk about each of those layers as succinctly as I can without getting too lost in the swamp of any given layer. So, just to start off, there's an individual known as Bret Weinstein. He's a member of the intellectual dark web, and he did a podcast, I believe this was about a week ago, where he talked about how he received a call from a friend of his who is a member of the Department of Homeland Security who's stationed in Portland, Oregon, and was basically saying that he felt like there was some chaos that was going to erupt in Portland based on all the different protests and riots that are happening. And this obviously became very noteworthy given the things that are happening in Portland currently. So Matt Leck, I hope I'm saying his name right. He put out a tweet that said, "Hey, at Bret Weinstein, want to come on to at Majority FM to discuss this consultation work you're doing with the Department of Homeland Security in Portland now that they're disappearing protesters in rented minivans." So obviously, I think the main takeaway that anyone that has any sort of rational brain would take away from this tweet is that Matt is trying to get Bret to come on the Majority Report because members of the intellectual dark web have just been flat out unwilling to talk to Sam Seder. And I personally believe that it's because they're afraid to debate him because they know that it would not go very well because a lot of them are really insincere, at least in my opinion, with the things that they claim to care about. Because they claim to care about free exchange of ideas, anti-cancel culture, all these different things. This is what they claim to care about. At least three of them have said that they will not talk to Sam Seder unless he apologizes for something mean that they feel like he said. Dave Rubin said that he will not debate Sam Seder, and I believe it's because he said Sam Seder. A video was posted to Sam Seder's channel that basically said this Dave Rubin was stupid or something. I mean, which is such a childish reason to say that you won't talk to someone. It was childish of that video to be put up, but it's also childish to say that you won't talk to a person because of it. Sam Harris won't talk to Sam Seder. I believe it has to do with things that Sam Seder said that Sam Harris believes about torture, things that he inferred and just flat out read from an article that Sam Harris wrote called "In Defense of Torture," but that's beside the point. And then Eric Weinstein recently also seems unwilling to talk to Sam Seder because Sam Seder said that Eric Weinstein called Sam Seder what was it, psychopathic troll, which if you look at all the evidence, that is basically what Eric Weinstein has at least implied Sam Seder is over the years. And so this is just another instance of, well, this Bret Weinstein, he's part of the intellectual dark web, maybe he will come on and talk about this free exchange of ideas. But that is not what Bret Weinstein did. In response to this tweet, he decided to tweet this out. "Attention, at Sam Seder, at the Young Turks. At Majority FM producer Matt Leck is broadcasting knowing falsehoods about me in a violence-prone environment. The danger is obvious, as are your legal and journalistic obligations. Immediate retraction, apology, and termination of Matt's employment." So that final part, the termination of Matt's employment, that is, in my opinion, the most significant and honestly hilarious part. But also it's pretty hilarious because Matt doesn't work for the Young Turks. He works for the Majority Report. But we'll talk about that. But I just think, on its face value, I don't see how you, in good conscience, can say that you are against cancel culture. You're against this outrage, all this outrage mobs, all this, and you can then go on Twitter of all places, not some sort of business email, not some sort of thing. On Twitter, this is a public attempt at shaming Matt Leck and probably the Majority Report in the Young Turks and saying, "Oh, you should fire this guy because he said something I didn't like." Now, he is saying that there was, the falsehoods about him. I think that what he would attribute to being falsehood is saying consultation work you're doing for the Department of Homeland Security. I think that Matt was being hyperbolic. I think that he means, well, you talk to someone in the Department of Homeland Security and, you probably talk to them about their situation, and now this is happening. I don't think that he actually thinks that Bret Weinstein is working with the Department of Homeland Security and is instructing them on what they should do. I don't think that anybody would think that. And not only that, we're not talking about someone who's known for being PC. No. This guy is someone who says that he hates cancel culture. He hates outrage. He hates all this stuff where people misinterpret words and people are too sensitive about things. This is Bret Weinstein. This is his whole brand. This is what the whole intellectual dark web is focused on, is speaking out against things like this. Yeah, Bret Weinstein calling for Matt to be fired over this, which is just absurd. And so Sam Seder decided to respond to this in the most hilarious way possible. Sam Seder responded to this tweet and said, "First off, at Matt Leck works for me on at Majority FM, not TYT. I demand a public retraction of your false statement. Only when and if I receive it, I will forward your complaint to our HR, at which time Leck's commissary privileges will be suspended until completion of HR's investigation. So obvious trolling by Sam Cedar. I mean, it's clear as day. Bret Weinstein decided to respond and said, "Is Wikipedia incorrect with your association with at the Young Turks? Happy to correct if so." And so if you go to Wikipedia, apparently it says the majority report is associated with the TYT network. I've always wondered what that meant, because I believe that Secular Talk is also like an associate with the TYT network. I don't know what that means. Maybe they got help with funding at some point. But Sam Cedar decided to have this response to it. I associate you with your brother. Does it follow that you work for him? To make this kind of claim during a volatile job market is outrageous. I have categorically stated that like work for at Majority FM, not TYT. I now demand 2 retractions. So obviously Sam Cedar's tweet makes a little bit more context given his recent interaction with Eric Weinstein, where he is basically just trolling, because that's what Eric Weinstein said in response to Sam Cedar. Like I said, there's so many different layers to this, and I don't want to get too caught up in it. But basically, Sam Cedar is just trolling the Weinsteins. But what I find just to be so hilarious, and when I put this together, I just, it blows my mind how insincere these guys are. The Bret Weinstein, how he came to fame, is that he was a college professor, and a bunch of college students said that he should be fired for not like wanting to recognize. There was like a thing where like they asked like all the white students and professors to like leave for a day to recognize like what like the world would look like without white people. I'm not even sure what the point of it was. Anyway, that's beside the point. The point was Bret Weinstein's claim to fame was that that people were calling for him to get fired, and this is how he erupted. Because cancel culture hit him. Cancel culture hit Bret Weinstein. He was this brave, standing up for what he believed in, and people tried to get him fired for it. Well, turns out Bret Weinstein apparently learned a little too much from those guys, because he is now trying to get people fired for saying things that he didn't like. And I get it. Some people would say that like, I don't know. I just don't buy it that this incites violence against Bret Weinstein. I get it. Like, Matt was being hyperbolic. He was. Like, nobody legitimately thinks that he was actually working consulting. Because Matt, I mean, you can't see it from this because Matt had to delete the tweet. But it was a video. He posted the video where people could see what he was actually saying. Like, it wasn't like trying to hide it. He was just trying to be exaggerating a little, and probably trying to goad Weinstein into coming on to discuss it. But anyway, I think I have just so little respect for what the intellectual dark web, what they claim to care about these things that I actually think are important, but they claim to care about them, and then they just whenever it doesn't fit what they specifically want, they just disregard everything they say they believe in, and they disregard free exchange of ideas. They disregard like the unwillingness to cancel people, not wanting to fire people from their job. They just disregard all of it, and they're massive hypocrites. And Bret Weinstein is apparently one of the more hypocritical members. And so anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of breakdown of this interaction. If you guys disagreed with anything I said, or if I got anything wrong about like the timeline or any of the facts that I gave, please let me know in a comment down below. I definitely want to be corrected if I said anything wrong. But if you did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and have a great day.